Hi, I'm Troy McClure, and you may remember me from such medical films as Alice Doesn't Live Anymore and Mommy, What's Wrong with That Man's Face? Oh, wait, no, I'm Glenn from Fun King 3D. And with me, as always, of course, is my brother from another mother. So let's just start with the excuses right now. Actually, we didn't really have any excuse for being late. We were just gabbing. But it could be a spectacularly fun stream, being that my internet is hit and miss right now. So,
And it's more miss than hit, it seems.
yeah, if I start to digitize or whatever, just let me know and I'll see what I can do about it. Not many people in here.
Get digitized. I didn't even know you were Jewish.
What?
Never mind.
Yeah, we've only got 5 people watching.
That's fair. Like I said,
Pretty sad.
like I've always said, more than we deserve.
Yep. Anyway, Tony Ryan looks like he gets bragging rights today with the first message that I can see. Anyway, I don't know, why does YouTube let you post in the chat so early if it's going to clear it at some point? It just doesn't make sense to me. But anyway, so we also have Alan Osborne, Scott McClellan is here, local maker of Michigan. Ollie is here. That's it, unless there's people lurking in the background. Now, I've said on multiple occasions that if you are in the chat and you are not talking to us, you need to at least say hi. I got a rogue hair. It's either in front of my eye or in front of my glasses. That's why I'm bugging out. There's Alan King. That you should at least say hi so that we know that you're there. But I caught something that Loyal Moses said today about those who suffer from social anxiety. And I'm one of those people. So if you're in the chat and you just can't bring yourself to say something for whatever reason, it's cool too. There's no pressure. I gotcha. I understand. We just can't say hey, that's all. Rogue hair from where? Somebody's getting a ban. It's probably a cat hair, to be honest with you.
Hopefully not a derriere hair.
No derriere hair. Oh, wait. Ah, there it is. Did I get it? I can't see it. I did get it. And yeah, it is. It's a cat hair.
So I'm gonna take this thing apart today. And
That's
never put it back together.
That's what it deserves.
Yep. I have struggled to try and get this on and off. Like, I'm not saying I've dedicated an enormous amount of time to it, but I've worked on it on and off over the past couple of years, and it's been taking up space in the basement. And then finally, I've got another printer for a friend of mine that could have all its problem solved with pieces from this thing, and I'm like, I'm never going to use it. I don't print a ton as it is anyways, and if I do, it's on more reliable printers than this, so why just let it take up space?
Well, and for those that don't know, that's the printer that almost killed Chris Riley.
Yep.
On camera.
And you know what? There are parts from Chris Riley's on here because he also chose to dismantle it.
And
it's like
that right there is all you need to know as far as that printer goes.
Is that Chris Riley gave up on it too?
Yep.
So, yeah, it's the Tronxy X5S. And the S is not for success. The S in my case is for, I don't know, suck it, I guess. So that's what I've got planned for today. I'm just gonna disassemble.
I'm gonna continue on with my Lego project here, but it has Chris Riley's DNA. Very
not yeah, but not the good parts.
I think he was quick. I think he was quick enough to get out of the way and dodge it, but it could have taken out an eye. So
there's the touch screen here or not the touch screen, the control. This thing sticks in, and it's been like that ever since I got it. So I was like, well, I'm gonna have to replace the LCD on it. It's not the original control board. I upgraded it to an MKS, I think. I don't remember positively. There's a lot of parts that I've designed and printed and put onto it and stuff like that, and I got it working to the point where I could print some PPE gear during the great PPE shortage of the 2020s.
Yeah, we don't talk about that time.
Yeah, two things we don't talk about: that time and Bruno.
Well, I do have a topic for today, but we'll save that for a little later to see if people
Anybody else
show
pops
up.
in? I just want to see if I've got a little container I can put extra parts into.
Well, and then I also have a new product that I bought that I want to share with you guys. And
is it a girdle?
It is.
I knew it.
Could you tell by my figure?
I could. That's exactly what set off. I was like, that
Wow,
is
brilliant.
That's a girdle. A girdle for shirtle.
It's a Squirtle girdle. It's got Pokemons on it. So, no, it's it's computer related. I don't want to give it away yet, but it just arrived on Friday. They'd been out of stock for a long time, and finally came back into stock. And I ordered one, and it arrived on Friday. And I didn't play with it until today because I've been busy. If you guys don't know, we're kicking into Christmas light season, which is now going to consume me. But so that I'm impressed with this piece of equipment. So Tony Ryan said, I'm in the garage trying to tune up a cranky N-scale locomotive. Awesome.
You can tune an engine and you can tune a piano, but can you tune a fish?
I can tune a fish. For those for those who are not model railroad enthusiasts, N scales are fairly small, and Tony can tell me. I think there's one smaller than the N scale, but like the engines are only, they're fairly small. So Ollie said I should dismantle my A-net. A-net what?
Doesn't matter.
Come on now, that's an A-net.
Barely.
Well, it was. It still runs an A-net control board, but that's really because I'm cheap.
A-net should fully embrace it. And like their next printer should be like the home burner edition or something like that.
The barn burner.
Oh
yes, that would be great. No, I do have something to print. I was actually going to already start it, but then the whole internet thing happened.
It's not your butt again, is it?
Shh. You're not supposed to give this stuff away.
I could do such a better job designing some of the parts that I designed for this thing now.
Oh, yeah,
but I'm not going to.
It's so funny when you look at stuff like that. Like, I mean, look at some of the stuff I designed 3D printing way back when, and I'm like, I look at them now and it's like, oh, there's so many better ways to do that. Oh, apparently I haven't had Octoprint open in a while.
My hand hurts pretty bad.
Yeah, tell that story because nobody knows.
I was racing. So this printer was stored on a shelf that's over here, and I was moving it over here so I could dismantle during the stream. And the roll of filament on top started to slide, and it screwed up the way I was holding it. And the printer slipped out of my hand, fell, and pinned my hand between the shelf and the printer, which is what stopped it from falling all the way down to the ground. And it was one of those pains where it wasn't super self-evident at the beginning. It was mostly numbness and then immediate nausea. Like you got the nausea and the fascia, but now you got the nausea.
The nausea and the what?
It says, so you might have the nausea and the fascia, but now you've got the nausea.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah. It was uncomfortable and unfortunate, and the tips of my fingers are still a little numb, and then the rest of it is letting me know that it's there. But
I'm trying to remember if I Okay, yeah, this version of Octoprint no longer supports Python 2, but I think that I just recently redid all of my Octoprints. You sure you want to update? Sure. I mean, worst case happens, I just can't print anything.
Which is basically what you do 99% of the time anyways.
Right. So
Remember when this used to be about 3D printing?
there's a tool company out there that they make a bunch of tools for doing like dom tubing work. So building roll cages or dune buggy frames or whatever. And almost all of their tools are 3D printed, and they're fairly affordable to buy the tools. As a 3D printer guy, they seem to be a little expensive for what they are, but somebody had to design it. But you can also go to their download page and for free download the STLs. So they sell the tools for people who can't 3D print, but they'll also give you the tools
if
or
you can.
give you the files to make it yourself. And there's some like you got to buy nut certs and that kind of stuff. But that's really cool that they would do something like that. What's that?
Well, nut certs to you, sir.
Nut certs to you too. So, but that's what I want to print today. Is there's a tool that they have that holds a Sharpie marker, and you set the height of it so that you can run it down a piece of pipe to mark the center.
Yep.
Because for Christmas decorations, I do a lot of rolling EMT tubing to make circles and stuff. And if you're running it through the roller and it starts to twist, you don't end up with a hoop like this. You end up with a hoop, like this. I'm not flipping the camera off, by the way.
I think the family filter thinks that you are. So hope you weren't looking forward to that 18 cents you were making today.
Hey, let's talk about a couple of things. Because first of all, every good journalist, which I'm not, is always up to admit that they were wrong. And last week I gave you guys information that was absolutely wrong. And for some reason, James knew it was wrong and called me out on it. But I told you guys last week that the Dodge was 100% paid off, including the shipping to get it here. That was incorrect. The Dodge is paid off for the Dodge. I miscalculated. I didn't know that I hadn't put the shipping into that number. So technically, I still owe $1,500 more dollars.
And you owed an apology, but now that's taken care of, so that's good.
Right. So little clarification. Now everybody knows. I like to be open and honest about stuff. It helps people out. Had I known that I'd be able to buy a crash truck, use the engine out of it, and then part it for enough money to pay for it, that's just brilliant to me. So
it's basically free content.
Right. If it helps the next guy out as far as getting, free parts, it's great. I mean, again, there's a lot of labor involved, and none of that is taken into consideration labor time. But is it really labor if you enjoy what you do?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely it is. Tom Elrod has slid in, and so has Scott Hackmonkey. How are you guys?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The story I was telling before we went live, and then I was like, let's just go live. So the robot I showed on the stream last week.
The robot.
The only robot I've ever built, and it's not even technically a robot. It's in the appearance of a robot, but neither here nor there. Wednesday night I was working on it, and Friday. Friday I was working on it, and I got to the point where everything was working the way it was supposed to. All the software was configured, everything was going good, and I was just buttoning everything up, and it reboots itself, and it continues to reboot itself. So I start going through stuff. I'm checking things out. Finally, I go, okay, I used an off-brand micro SD card when I built it, so maybe that's all it is. But I'm also having a pretty rough go of things at this point because I've been working on this on and off for months at this point, and
it feels like forever.
Well, you look at my channel right now. I think it's been 5 or 6 weeks since my last video released. So It's like it's time. It needs to get done, but also it has to be working. So that a need for it to be done doesn't guarantee it's going to be.
True.
So
Deadlines only work for TV shows.
Yep, exactly. Because they'll just release whatever they got and hope for the best. So I take it upstairs because it's now fairly late on Friday, and I image a new card and I plug it in, and it boots up. And about 10 minutes after it boots off that new card, it starts resetting itself again, and the error message is very similar. So at this point, I'm thinking, well, it's got to be the Pi, right? Like all the components on the Pi are built into it. So whether it's CPU, memory,
right, yeah, you're not going to be
USB
able to
controller,
just change it out.
Yeah. So I quit for the night. The next morning, I get up and Kay's like, "Why don't you go take another run at it before we do anything this morning and see?" So I'd had the night to sort of stop and think about it. So I bring it downstairs, and I get my multimeter out. Do you call it multimeter or multimeter?
Multimeter.
I know people that call it multimeter, and it took me a
Well,
couple
that's
seconds to
like
figure out
some
their
people
thing.
call it an altimeter, and it's really an altimeter.
Yeah.
No.
Altimacker. So I bring it back downstairs. I get the multimeter out and I start testing, and I've got 5.25 volts going in at the back, and then I test on the Pi, and I'm getting below 5 volts on the Pi.
Huh.
So at first I test to the 5-volt pin and to ground, and it's like 4.8 volts, and then when it gets under load, it starts dropping a little bit below that, like when it's doing stuff. And then I'm like, well, maybe that's just within the Pi, right? Because it goes through a regulator and stuff. Now this is an Orange Pi, not a Raspberry Pi, so so then I test at the barrel connector going into the Pi, and sure enough, it's below 5 volts. So what I ended up doing was taking the wire that connected the power board to the Pi, which was 18 inches or 24 inches, cutting it and basically shortening it down to about 6.5 inches. It was just voltage loss over the length of the cable.
Huh.
I don't know why it suddenly became more sensitive to that and why it started doing the rebooting and stuff like that. But once I had shortened the cable and I was getting consistently 5 to 5.2 volts on the Pi, it's been fine since. It's been on for a couple of days.
Now,
So
did that wire need to be the length that it was?
no, it was literally just I had enough space in the cavity that I could tie it off. So rather than cut anything or whatever, and it was like a power supply cable that's supposed to be for that board.
Okay.
So I figured, well, I'm not going to bother. I do this a lot, and I think this has been a sort of a lesson learned for me that it's not worth it's worth the time to shorten the wire so there's potentially less to go wrong. I guess like
Right.
people don't think about the length of their wire, but voltage loss is a thing. So you have a wire
Well,
that's a
and
couple
the
feet
other
long.
side of that too is manufacturers are all about making things as cheap as possible. So even though that might be like the power wire for that board, it might already be undersized.
Okay, so here's the thing, because I've got the chunk of wire, I think, right here. Yep. Is this the chunk of wire? No, it's not. It fell off something
That's
else.
some other random chunk of wire.
It's actually the ground to go from the power supply and the printer to the board. It's because I've been pulling stuff out. Anyways, what I found when I cut into the wire. Oh, here it is. Perfect. So there's the wire, right? So that looks like a pretty decently thick piece of wire, right? Because it's supposed to be carrying USB voltages, so 5 volts,
It's
2
like a
amps.
decently thick chunk of insulation on that wire.
That's exactly what it is. I don't know if I'll be able to get it to focus in on this enough. There.
Yeah, it's hard to see, but you can tell it's tiny. It's just like a little tiny dot.
Yeah, well, so and there's a red wire and a white wire run through there, and each of those wires on top of the how thick the insulation around this is. Actually,
So
is it better on this one?
it's
No.
like a headphone wire.
Yes, I would say about it is what I would find acceptable for a data pin on USB.
Wow.
I can't test the gauge of it. I could probably strip it and then measure it, but I would say it's probably like 22 to 24, probably 24.
Mark just said probably 24 gauge.
Yeah. So when I cut into it and realized that because I bought what was supposed to be premium cable, it turns out the only thing premium about it is how much insulation they crack around it.
Right. Plenty of insulation on there.
Yep. So, anyways, so I was going to try and make a custom cable, but now that I've wired it up, and the other thing you check too is if there's any heat being generated by the cables, because that would also indicate that the gauge isn't sufficient. But once it was trimmed down to 6 inches, there's like maybe 0.05 voltage difference between input and output. So
You got one of those FLIR cameras?
the little FLIR camera. What's a FLIR camera?
It's for seeing heat.
Oh.
FLIR.
I do not have a FLIR camera.
I don't really have a need for one, but I really want one.
I every once in a while I see a video, I'm like, I'm gonna go buy one. Then it reminds me how much they are and how little I'm going to use it. And then I go, yeah. I think I'll just get some more cheeseburgers.
Well, and then like on the garage side, you see like these guys that are building these engines and stuff, and there's a problem, and so they look at it through the thermal cam, and they can see the number 3 tube coming on the header isn't reaching temperature, so they know that cylinder's dead. And I'm like, yep, I should have one of those.
But then you think of the number of times that you've been in that situation. You're like, well, I haven't been, but I know it's coming.
Well, I think about the time that I don't have that engine.
And then there's this one time at band camp.
This one time at engine camp. Yeah.
So, but that robot is exceeding expectations. So I guess I can take a vote for this too. I am doing a video. I don't know. So this robot is going to another YouTuber. I don't know if he's doing a video on it. I have not added a caveat or stipulation or whatever, because it really is I'm building this thing. It's going to make a fun video, and I want somebody who's going to enjoy it to get it, because I also don't have enough room for all these things that I build. I'm trying to decide how I want the video to go. I've kind of settled on it now, but I'd like to get people's opinions. So I'm going to do an 8 to 10 minute video on the cabinet, and it's not going to be a build guide. It's going to show off the finished design. I'm going to go through a bit of the design process, talk about some of the issues I ran into, then show it working and stuff like that. I am then at some point in the next couple months going to do a secondary video where I actually do like a build guide for anybody that wants to build one. That's where I'm sitting right now. I'm wondering how people feel about there being 2 videos. Because my thought process is, if he does decide that he's going to include it in a video or talk about it at some point, and I get a bunch of people redirected to me, I want to make sure the video is sort of as catchy and easy to digest by this new influx of people as possible. So that's my current thought process.
That makes sense.
So then I do a second build video for those who want to see or want to try building one themselves, then they can, go about it that way.
Or I don't want to admit this publicly, but pull that YouTuber thing where you say, if you'd like to see a full build video, leave me a message down in the comments.
So that was the original approach. That was legitimately 100% what I told Kay I was going to do. But then I was like, I want to do the build video anyways.
Yeah, but you can do the build video anyways.
Oh, I don't have to say that it's dependent on. I just drop out the part where it's like, if enough people say they want to see it, I'll do it.
No, you don't say that. You just say, if you want to see a full build video, just leave me a message down in the comments. One, that promotes people leaving you a message in the comments, which helps on the algorithm. But
I didn't think you liked Algor.
Algorithms?
The algorithms.
Hey, look, everybody, I'm printing. I don't know if you can hear it.
Remember that time your printer got completely messed up because of a little piece of plastic?
I do remember that.
So does Pepperidge Farm.
And we
I'll be back in a second. I have to get more pain tolerance.
More pain tolerance? So I see a comment. Ollie said that he signed up for a remote robotics university course in the spring. That should be pretty cool. I hope that goes well for you. Mitch is here. I like the way Mitch comes in and just says, I'm here. Like, just, in case. Oh, and Local Maker Michigan said $0 an hour for labor sounds like farming. Well, that truck did come off of a ranch and it was quite dirty. So maybe, just maybe.
I was like, well, it sounds like there's a printer running. I'm just picking it up on your microphone.
Well, that's because I was quiet. Usually I'm all talking, and then you can't.
Yeah,
hear it.
I don't know. Usually we can't shut you up.
No, that is true. I'm not feeling well today, and it's been an all day long thing. So I don't know. A lot of dizzy spells today.
Sorry
Some
to hear
days are
that.
better than others. It's probably
Some
because I know tomorrow's Monday, and I really hate Mondays.
I have tomorrow off because the Queen died.
Man, that must be nice.
Well, you guys wanted to be independent. That's what you get.
Yeah, no, I'd rather go to work. Yeah, but you guys are independent.
We're still a part of the
I know, but
Commonwealth or whatever.
it's because of us.
What's because of you?
Your freedom. I don't know.
Freedom isn't free. I'm assuming you've seen that movie, right?
What movie?
Team America: World Police.
Again, familiar with it. Don't know if I ever actually watched it.
There's a song, and it starts off like it's touching, right? Because like the guy's like reflecting, and it's like, what would you do if you were asked to give up your life for freedom? And it's supposed to be like, talking about military stuff. And then at the end, it's like, freedom isn't free. It costs folks like you and me. Fair enough. And then by the end of it goes, freedom cost $1.05.
$1.05. Oh, well, we got 11 people in here. Can I share my new product?
That's up to you, buddy. This is your stream.
Well,
You're the one that told me I couldn't say bleep 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 on it. So.
Well, that is true, but it is still our stream. It's just
you can tell everybody that
has to
this
follow
is
my
our
channel rules.
stream.
That's all.
You can do whatever you want, buddy. You can dance if you want to.
Can I leave your friends behind?
Because your friends don't dance. And now we're censored on YouTube. I just did my favorite James thing. I put my screwdriver down somewhere and then don't remember where I put it.
Oh my God, I do that so often. Like I will literally have a tool in my hand 1 second, and then the next second I can't find it.
Well, and it literally has to be within reaching distance of me right now.
Because you didn't go anywhere.
Oh, there it is.
All right, so let me just correct.
Regular correct or course correct?
I did this incorrectly, and now I don't know. Okay, I see. I totally understand why this set is 18 and up. It's probably some of the worst Lego instructions I've ever had. Like they tell you need these pieces, but then they don't really show you where they go. And it's such a massive set that
it's like I totally understand why this is 18 and up. It's because of the nipples.
Because of the nipples.
It's
because of its choice in languages.
We used to hang out with a woman who got a mermaid tattoo done, and it was in a place that you wouldn't see it commonly. Like it's not, you wouldn't see it, like it was covered up under most clothing conditions.
Right, unless you were at the beach.
Yeah. But it was a topless mermaid, and we were hanging out one day, and her son was like staring at where the tattoo was, and he was pretty young, and she's like, I won't say the kid's name because I don't want to, pull anybody into it. But like, what are you staring at? He goes, it's inappropriate. And she goes, what's inappropriate? He's like, your tattoo. He had a little bit of almost like Boston accent going. And she said, what's wrong? What do you mean it's inappropriate? He goes, the nipples are inappropriate.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. All right, so I'm going to drag this Google tab over.
Google? Is that like Michael Google?
Yeah, Michael Google. So that I can share my screen. I came across this. Let's make sure it doesn't spaz out like it did that one time. Okay, I came across this in a news article.
It looks like a little PlayStation.
What's that?
It looks like a little PlayStation.
It kind of does look like a little PlayStation. So this thing starts, I don't know, life as a Android TV box.
Yep.
And the article went on to say how it could run Armbian Linux, which, if you guys don't know, that's a version of Debian.
But for ARM processors.
I know how to say that now. I learned that last week. But yeah, it runs on the ARM processor. And you see the price there. $40.
$40?
$40. US dollarinos. Now, they've been out of stock for the longest time, and they just finally came back in stock. Sadly, they are only shipping to the US, but there's a link at the top there of Build Your Own that they will walk you through what to buy and how to do it so that you can build your own. Now, you might be asking yourself, why do I need one of those? Well, it's $40. Okay.
And if it'll run Armbian, then that'd make a nice little $40 print server, considering how hard it is to get a Raspberry Pi at a decent price right now.
Bingo. That guy right there is the equivalent of a Pi 3, processor-wise, but has way more kick to it. And it's only $40, which, like, right now you can't touch a Pi for under 100 if you can find one. I mean, I say that if you find them for less than that, good on you. I mean, if anybody can find them for $35 ever again, I'd like to know. But when I read the article, admittedly, I don't like, if these tech articles are like pages and pages and pages, I pretty much just skim them. So I read the article that a guy bought this and installed the Armbian on it. So I thought, I can do that. I'm going to try it out. So I ordered it. Well, guess what? It already has Armbian on it.
Oh, that's convenient.
It is a full running Linux box. And it comes with desktop. I mean, it's the desktop version of Linux. It's brilliant. Now,
it's basically a full-blown mini PC at this point.
Yes. And here is the great part. You look at that picture, and when I looked at it, I thought, man, that looks like an old PlayStation, like a PS2.
That's exactly what I just said.
I know. This is how big it is.
Yeah, that's about right.
That's it. That's the whole thing. Let me get over to the detail camera. It's literally palm size. It is fantastic. So it's got a USB 3 on this side, and then right next to it, which is really, really hard to see. That'll focus. There is an SD card slot, a micro SD card slot right there. And then you've got audio, HDMI, 100 base network. It's 100 meg. A USB 2, and then the power, and it comes with a power adapter. And then it also comes with this particular one. You can see in the picture, or you could see in the picture if I put it back. It comes with a small, like, cheapy USB 2.0.
Is that a wireless N adapter?
Yep, that's a wireless Wi-Fi adapter, and then the cheapy hub. Now this one, if you look at the pictures, this shows blue ports, like it's a 3.0 hub.
Yeah,
it wasn't a 3.0 hub that it came with. It only came with a 2.0 hub, but still for $40, and then it was like $9 shipping to get it here. So I was just a hair under $50. It took like 3 days, and I had it. And again, I didn't fire it up until today. So now again, you might be asking yourself, but Glenn, why do I need one of those? Well, if you've ever wanted to install Pi-hole, it just feels funny when you say that. But if you've ever wanted a Pi-hole server in your house, this is a great option. I've installed Pi-hole on this, and I've installed Pi VPN on this. This is a full functioning WireGuard VPN. and it's now a full functioning Pi-hole DNS server in this little box. I mean, it's slightly larger than a Pi, but thinner. Comes already in the box, like already in the enclosure.
Is that an ABS injected enclosure, or is it 3D printed?
It's not 3D printed, so it's definitely injection molded. It was made in the Chinas, but so I don't know. I'm super impressed by it already, and so I thought I would share. And I'm actually hoping. Tony Ryan says he has a built-in Pi-hole. But maybe you need a secondary. You should always have a secondary Pi-hole.
Oh, you don't want to try and use anything as a secondary Pi-hole. It's just going to get messy.
Well, but having two Pi-holes does bring up a good point, because originally I only had one Pi-hole, and like that's what most people have. Most people only have one Pi-hole,
as God intended.
And and then the problem would come that I wanted to reboot that Pi-hole. And at that point, nobody on the network had any internet access because they didn't have a DNS.
Can you imagine if computers you could configure a computer to have primary and secondary DNS?
It would be fantastic.
But who has the time?
But the thing is my computers on my network are all DHCP, so everything is configured from the router. Which, if you set your primary DNS as your Pi-hole and your secondary as a public DNS, that does solve that problem, except for if, like, when your network's running and stuff is requesting, it'll go to the secondary and it bypasses the Pi-hole then. So I actually run right now I have 4 Pi-holes in my house. But not really. Like, I run 2, and now I have a third one. The other one is just a development box, I guess we'll call it. So, but I am actually going to do a video on this guy. I'm hoping they stay available for a while. Now, there is a second one of these too, a cheaper one. Let me pull this back up. So the main Quadra is $29.99. Which is this guy. Oh, God.
That would have been funny.
Buy a Quandra. So $29.99, you get the Quandra Mini. This is the Plus, which has got faster Wi-Fi. It has Bluetooth, and it comes with the USB hub. So that's I mean, for $10, I thought I would get the big boy.
Treat yourself.
I'm a high roller sometimes. So, but yeah, I want to do a video series on this little guy. I want to install Octoprint on it, the Pi-hole and PiVPN, because I think that is quite a marvelous little box. So,
it's my pie in a box.
Pi-hole in a box.
Pi-hole in a box, girl.
So I hope Scott said, very interesting. Power supply included. That's half the price. It does have the power supply. I mean, it's just a wall wart, and I didn't bring it down here. It's upstairs. So I don't remember what the voltage is on it.
It's going to be, I mean, I almost guarantee it's going to be 5 to 5.2 volts and probably 2 to 3 amps.
Probably, yeah. But it's a barrel connector. It's not a USB. It's an actual barrel connector. So, but the only issue that I've had is the molding around the network jack seems to be a little big, and it caught like when I went to unplug it, the cable pulled out and then it hung. I had to kind of wiggle and jerk. And you get a kick out of that. So, and then what I can do, just because I'm a super nice guy.
Since when?
Since always.
This is the upgraded version of Glenn.
I will throw a link to that in the description. No affiliate. They don't.
I'd like one, but I'm in Canada, which is apparently the wrong side of the tracks. So.
What's that?
I said I'd like one, but I'm in Canada, which is apparently the wrong side of the tracks.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if you really wanted one, you could order it and have it sent here, and it'll only be $1,000 for me to ship it to you.
I was caught off guard by the declaration, how much it costs you to ship me those.
It's ridiculous, right?
I wonder how much of that's to do with the declared values of stuff. Because I also didn't pay any fees for it coming in,
You didn't have to pay any duty.
which I think I should have had to, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
All I know is you said duty, and that's funny.
I don't. I don't think it actually has anything to do with that because when we sent a package out to Xander's former Canadian girlfriend.
Oh, did they break up?
Yeah. I'm not going to discuss that publicly, but I'll tell you the story later. But when we sent Christmas gifts up there, it was about that amount. It was a much bigger box. Probably didn't weigh as much though. This one was definitely heavier. So
yeah, this one was a couple kilograms, a few kilograms.
Scott said, I have real Raspberry Pi power supplies and they're always complaining about power. I have that problem too. And I find I don't buy the real Raspberry Pi one. I mean, I buy ones that are, what's the Cana kit?
But yeah, by Canatech, I think, right?
It's really funny because like you put it on and it's fine and it'll run for like a year and then and I leave my Pis on all the time. Pis on.
Hey, Paisanos.
And then all of a sudden, like a year later, it'll start to complain, and I'll buy a new one, and then it's fine, and it'll run for like a year. So I don't. Maybe they just get weak. So Mark said, "I feel like I could eat a whole pie. Does that count? I used to be able to eat a whole pie."
Then let me tell you about the diabetes.
So, but honestly, and I know that I say this all the time, and I know most of you out there aren't listening. If you have a network at home, which you do, or you wouldn't be here. Well, I guess you could be here on your phone, but if you have a network
and there are still
home,
people that just have a single connection modem, like not dial-up, but like.
I mean, almost everybody has a router, whether it's from the cable company or whatever, and you have more than one computer on there. If you're not running a Pi hole, you don't know what you're missing. You don't know what you're.
Actually, they do know what they would be missing because they're seeing all the ads.
Right. So, I'm trying to figure out how that would work.
I get what you're trying to say.
You're seeing what you'd be missing.
Your life could be so much better.
And like you gotta work it. It isn't instant. You gotta go find lists and stuff. And I mean, honestly, if you ever install one and you want me to share my lists, I'll share my lists with you.
Holy cow!
I
didn't know. Sorry.
What? No, go ahead.
I didn't notice until now. I guess there's been spiders hanging out in here. Hopefully the cables are long enough that I can show you guys. Is it going to show up in camera?
You might have to point towards what you're looking at.
This all through here, there's just a giant spider web built. Like the entire machine is can you see it? There.
No. Oh yeah, I can kind of see it.
It's all of it is encased.
I can see it coming off that the black cable that's up by that stepper motor. I can see it.
I think that's what I think if I do this, maybe. See it?
Oh yeah. And now you've disturbed their home. That's more like a cobweb type spider web, though.
No, they disturbed my home by being here. They don't pay rent. Is that sitting in there properly now?
Well, I'm glad that I could share that product with you, and I hope that it does work out for somebody. Don't buy them all. You're limited to like 6, and I'm sure that there's other uses for them. I mean, if you need a little Linux box, I mean, honestly, if you wanted to learn Linux, what a great way to do it, because it's cheap and it's already installed. Then I started monkeying with it today, and then I thought I should make a video on this, but now I've already installed stuff, so I'd have to go back,
wipe it,
and clean it out. Right. Scott asked, how long did it take to get it? I ordered it on Tuesday and I had it on Friday. It shipped the same day I ordered it. So, but so I went to their website to see if you could download the firmware for it. And in fact, you absolutely can. You can download an image file to put on an SD card, and it walks you through it. And then down at the bottom it says if you're incapable of that or you can't afford to do it, you can actually reach out to them and they will mail you an SD card free of charge with the image on there. You image the thing and then you mail the SD card, or they ask that you mail the SD card back so that they can keep that service for free. So Scott said, and a full-size HDMI, I'm sold. All right, that affiliate money is going to be rolling in no time. No affiliation whatsoever. I just Local Maker Michigan said, I ordered one. You guys make sure you put in the comments that I sent you. Not really, but
Glenn sent me.
I've always wondered if that would work. Like if a bunch of people order something and they put like, oh, Fun King 3D sent me. Like, would they reach out to me and be like, hey, thanks, at least? But I don't know. I had a viewer reach out to me from the Garage Channel this week through my website, through the contact form. And I was kind of excited. I thought that was pretty cool because it's the first time anybody's emailed me through the site. It's usually always through comments. And he asked me some questions, and I wrote up a nice email, and I sent it back to him, and they put the wrong email address in the form because it bounces back from Yahoo and says that mailbox doesn't exist.
Is it by any chance like potentially like a predictable error? Like, oh, they typoed somewhere?
Judging by the email, they could have added or omitted a number or possibly duplicated a letter. And I did, or they would respond back, Fun King, please stop cussing. You got to put a space in between there. I did try, I tried sending it, changing the numbers, how I felt maybe, but then I didn't want it to just end up somewhere random, so I stopped. So hopefully they'll email me again or reach out to me another way so that I can give them the answers in which they seek. Glenn Hogue has joined us. Greetings from Alabama.
Is that the Sweet Home Alabama?
Sweet Homes Alabama.
I think maybe for the first time watched the Apollo 13 movie this week.
Oh, really?
It's a good movie.
It's pretty intense, isn't it?
It is.
And what really bakes your noodle is when you realize that stuff really happened.
Yep. I went down this weird rabbit hole, and like it sounds weird to describe what happened. But as you know, last Sunday was 9/11.
Right.
And so Monday morning, I was working, and I was like, I'm going to put something on for like audio in the background. And YouTube recommended the news broadcast 9/11 as it happened. And I was like, I was pretty young when it happened. Like I was middle of high school type thing.
Rub it in.
It would be interesting to sort of revisit it and see if things happened the way I remember. So first of all, like without getting too far into it, I remember the whole process from like, I don't want to get too descriptive because there's, this could bother some people, but like from the beginning to end, I thought it was hours. Like I remember like there's still being news coverage in the afternoon, which there was, but like.
Right. There was news coverage in the afternoon.
Yeah. So I put and I'm listening, and it's like, and like the whole ordeal start to finish was over in like a little over an hour.
Yeah.
And I was just like, so it was, but it started this rabbit hole because YouTube started recommending as it happened videos. Right. So then it was like Apollo 13 as it happened, JFK as it happened. The weirdest one was Michael Jackson as it happened because it was only a 10-minute video. The video starts off with, Michael Jackson's been rushed to the hospital. They say he was found unresponsive, not breathing.
And he didn't have him very, very fast or very long.
Yeah. They so the video is 10 minutes. They've got a doctor on talking about, how long you can go without oxygen before there's the potential for brain damage and everything else. And like at the 4-minute mark in the video, like, okay, we've just received news that Michael Jackson's dead, and then the rest of it was just like a briefing of his most recent legal troubles, which I thought was maybe a little bit bad taste right off the bat, but
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But anyways, all that to say, the Apollo 13 as it happened was there, and then I was like, I should go watch that movie, and it was a good movie.
See, another reason: don't travel with Tom Hanks.
Houston, we've had a problem. Is that you, Tom? Yes, it is.
Ground control to Major Tom. Yeah. No, I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. I haven't watched it in a while, but it's a good watch.
Well,
I just wanted to look back at the page and see if those things are sold out yet.
I was gonna be like, order me one, and then the next time I see you, I'll get it off you. But by the time that happens, it probably won't be able to run any at the latest version of Armbian.
Yeah, I didn't even click. I'm gonna click this link that says "Build Your Own." I'm just curious. Yeah, it's just how to install their firmware on an Android TV box. That's kind of cool because I have an old Android TV box that I don't use anymore. I bought it.
Have one.
What's that?
I actually have one in my car. It was my brother's, and he's like, "Can you figure out how to update it?" And I went looking and couldn't find anything.
Yeah, well, I bought it to put on my mother's television way back in the day, before she had a smart TV, and now it's not being used, so it's just sitting around. The only good purpose that I have for it is our cable company requires you to have a cable box for TV.
Gotcha.
I only have like the basic of TV because it comes free with my internet service. I don't typically watch regular broadcast television.
Yeah, we don't have it at all anymore.
It's beneath me. But so that box, I could install the special version of the Comcast software, the Xfinity software, and it would allow me to plug it into my other TV. So like during bad weather and stuff, we could have stuff on both TVs.
Gotcha.
Scott says boxes ordered. Well, that's two. That's two people that ordered them. Whew. Man, I wish it was an affiliate account. I wish Harbor Freight did affiliate accounts. I know I sell some Harbor Freight stuff. I should have this over on the other camera so you guys can see what I'm working on.
We're about halfway through. I was actually hoping this would be disassembled in the first hour, and then I could start working on taking the parts that are good in this one and putting them onto the printer that I got to fix with it. But I think I've got another 15 or 20 minutes left disassembling here, if I include the tiers, because
right.
Stuff's definitely going to fall on my feet at some point.
Well, yeah, of course, because that printer is out to kill you.
That's okay. It still hasn't realized that I'm out to kill it yet.
It's so funny because I almost got one of those.
Oh,
That's Tronxy, right?
Yep.
Tron XY. I've always called it Tronxy. I don't know.
It's one of the printers that design prototype test labeled as a Prusa killer.
Prusa killer. Wow.
Yeah.
So they gave me a printer. I think it was the X1. It was the little one that's the same format as the Prusa Mini.
And the Ender 3.
No, the Ender 3 is
sorry, the Ender 2. The Ender 2.
Yeah, it's what do they call that?
Cantilever design.
Cantilever design. There you go. So they had given me the choice, and I can't remember. There was some stipulation of one over the other one, and I said, no, I'd rather have, or maybe it was that I wanted one that was portable. I think that's what it was. I wanted something that I could move around and be portable with, and so I took the X1. Thank God. That thing could have killed me.
Can and would have.
That X1 now lives at my public library. Not like I don't own it, but my local public library. When their Creality failed, yeah, like Crealities fail, right? When their Creality failed, I took it off site, but I didn't want them to not have a printer, so I gave them the X1. And they thought I was just loaning it to them. And then I said, no, surprise, I don't want it back.
You're actually doing me a favor because I don't have to pay the cost to get rid of it.
I don't have to take it apart and make it into something else. I upgraded. I printed and upgraded a bunch of parts on it. It was pretty good. Dingy person talking?
DPT.
Oh.
I know there are decisive factors about people watching him and the type of content he does and that type of stuff. I will say, and I've always said, he does some really intelligent, cool stuff. He does a lot of tuning stuff on printers, and that's pretty cool. If it wasn't for the
tinfoil hat stuff,
the dramatic stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a few things that he's done that just not for any particular reason. I just don't like the guy. Like, there's just certain YouTube channels that you watch, and I'm sure there's people out there that watch my channel and be like, I hate this guy. It's just the way it is. I don't hold it against people. You're not going to like everybody.
I know for a fact that there's literally people out there who can't stand the way I sound.
Right, because they tell you.
Yeah, and I say, honey, can you just go to sleep? I got to work in the morning. I kid. Killing has always been.
But I mean, there's even some YouTube channels that like I watch and I'm like, nope, can't stand this guy. I ain't watching this garbage. And then now I'm completely hooked on Derek. I mean,
no, I would recommend design, prototype, teach, or test. I would definitely recommend him to people if it wasn't for the drama videos. If it was just sticking to the tech and like personal videos, I just I don't want to recommend him to people and people like, you like this guy because of the weird videos.
Right. The tinfoil hat stuff.
Well, in his latest video, he accused Prusa directly of trying to fish him to get control of his YouTube channel.
Oh, I could see him doing that. I mean, I could see Prusa doing that.
It's called an acquisition. He's just going to acquire him.
Yeah, exactly. That's just it. I mean, honestly, if Joseph wanted to get rid of somebody, he could just buy them.
Do you remember the Simpsons episode where Homer starts an internet company called Super Hyper Global Meganet?
Yeah, and it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, and then Bill Gates shows up.
Yeah.
Buy him out, boys, and he just starts smashing everything. What are you doing? You don't think I actually pay money for companies, do you? I think my favorite part of that though is that his muscle was nerds. Like they were super muscular, but they were wearing like glasses and
with the tape on it, and
yeah.
They're going into their 32nd season, or is it 33rd? I don't know. Long freaking time.
Yep.
And I still will say the old stuff was funnier. Like way back in the beginning, that stuff was far more brilliant.
Kay and I do intend at some point to watch the entire series from start to finish, just to see how it went. And I said,
I don't know. I don't know if I could do that. I mean, as much as I love The Simpsons, in fact, now all of my network stuff in the house is named after Marvel characters, but like back in the day, it was all Simpson characters.
My stuff's all Star Trek ships.
See, like my father's computer was Barney because my dad was an alcoholic.
My server is Deep Space Nine because it's like, well, a Starbase makes sense. I actually originally just called it Starbase, and then I was like, wait a second, that's a little too generic.
Scott said I paid him a compliment once because it was a solid video and not a rant. He then ranted on me, asked me to never watch his stuff, so I blocked him on YouTube.
Okay, I'm gonna ask as the devil's advocate. When you paid him the compliment, did you also add the comment, "I'm so glad to see this," instead of the I'm gonna be the guy that asked. What was there? Was it a somewhat backhanded comment?
What do they call it? Passive aggressive. This was a fantastic video, unlike that other crap that you make. Oh, that would be brilliant.
No, he gets full credit for me for doing some pretty intelligent, cool things. And like I said, I would suggest him to everybody as a, you want to learn how to tune and cool things you can do for your printer, go check him out. But
no,
I just don't want to get the questions about.
You just go watch Chris Riley.
Yep, Chris Riley is definitely one of the strongest forces for helping people get started and do stuff that might seem intimidating.
And he's drama free.
Well, that we know of.
He's drama free on the internets.
Hey, remember when there was a printer sitting here?
Yeah.
I knew it. Hack monkey, sort of.
Sort of. Well, being that we're rolling in on the 1 hour mark, and we have,
you know what's funny?
What's that?
As I've taken this part, I just figured out where the problems were coming from.
Tronksy?
No, well, I get yes, but the I don't know how I didn't know that's what was on there. These bearings barely free spin.
Wow.
I was getting like missteps and the axis would go like slightly torqued out of alignment and stuff. Oh well.
No, it's no great loss.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, is I don't need it. I don't need the printer. So
yeah, I want to build a camera slider, and I'm debating between using, because like most of the designs use rod, but I'm thinking about using extrusion V-slot. I've got a piece of, I can't remember if it's 1,000 millimeter or 1,500 millimeter left over from that monstrosity behind me. But I love open build stuff. Like
I'm debating if I even want to bother, because I might just toss the whole hot end assembly. It's got a clone E3D extruder that's the hole's gotten all worn from filament going through it, and a clone volcano that never worked quite right. So I'm kind of thinking maybe I'll strip the motor out of it and just toss the rest.
Don Lama said, "Isn't that the same Tronksy printer model that almost took out Chris Riley's eye?"
It is partially his. The Z-axis parts are from his. So we got ours at the same time. We were asked to review them at the same time, and we got he got one that had stainless steel casing for the, or not stainless steel, but metal casing for the Z-axis bearings, and I got acrylic, and the acrylic shattered on all four pieces. So he when he finally got rid of his, which actually wasn't a super long time after he put it together, he mailed me his bearing casing so I could try and get this one up and running. But people have been trying to talk me out of trashing it for a while because, you know, in theory, well, I guess, and in practice, having one with a lowering Z-axis versus having a what they call a bed slinger is going to be better because less movement of the print.
Yeah, for if you're doing tall prints, absolutely. You know, tall and thin.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's got a wide base on it, who cares? I mean, the thing is super solid anyway.
Yep.
Oh, did you see that? Where did I see that? Was it on the Twitters? The 5-axis 3D printer?
I have. I mean, I've seen them in the past already. The concept's not particularly new. They've
no,
been
but
around
I mean,
for a couple years.
this group or person or whatever has one that's like functioning and it's just brilliant looking. So, but I just want to poke back here and see how my print's doing.
We're gonna get to the point where overhangs aren't even a thing anymore.
What's that?
We're gonna get to the point where overhangs aren't even a thing anymore.
Right. Which would be nice because I always design to not need supports.
I tried
And
my best to do that.
yeah, if I can't design it to not need supports, like I'll try to model them into the model, and then if that doesn't work, then I just don't do it.
I just quit.
Tom said, bed droppers are better than bed slingers, but in reality, they all work. I like the ones where the bed doesn't move at all.
You mean like the FK1?
Yes, exactly like the FK1.
Do you remember when you first designed it and the bed was going to move a lot?
Yes, I remember that.
And some smart Canadian came in and helped you with your... I don't know. I want to make jokes, but I don't want to go any further than that. I don't want to lose a friendship.
I redesigned it, and then I talked to Sanjay, and Sanjay said, "Why did you make the extruder move on the long axis?" And I said, "Because I'm an idiot, and you're not." And then I went home and redesigned it again. No, I think about him every time I look at that printer.
What a good guy.
World
doesn't make sense.
But anyway, to not bring the stream down, I want to 24/7 Hinky said, as we all get older, there are more overhangs. I want to bring up a topic today, and I have an idea for a new way to do it. I have made it into a ticker for the bottom of the screen. And the question today is, what software or method, if you don't use software, because like it might just be a whiteboard, do you use to keep track of like progress on your projects or like a to-do list? And the reason this came about is I actually use a couple different methods. And up until recently, one of them was fantastic, but sometimes I do it by Post-it note, which is not a good way to do it. I've done it by whiteboard, which the problem with that is when you're doing a to-do list and you have something in the middle, you either cross it out or erase it, but you can't just move things up. Tom said, I'll be very likely tearing down Taserface, the Pumpkin King, for parts. Dramatically sad music play. No, I have no feelings for that printer. I couldn't care less.
You say you did say couldn't. I'm so used to people saying could care less, and then be like, well, that means you do care, at least a little.
No, I could not care any less about that printer. I hated that thing. It was such a nightmare.
See you never, X5S.
See ya.
Rust in peace.
But what I'm using currently, and it was actually by somebody in the community suggested it to me back before the FK1 project took off, was to use Trello. And if you're not familiar with Trello, it's pretty much an online to-do list, and you can create as many columns as you want, and then you put cards in those columns, and then you can move them. So it works. It's not the greatest, because like, with the Fummins project, I had a category, a column for parts I needed to buy. And then I made a column for parts ready to be installed, so like once I bought them, well, in fact, that's what it was. Parts to buy, parts on order, parts to install, parts completed. And then I would also have a column for tasks that needed to be done. So if it had a way to layer it, I think it would be better. But it was also recently, I don't know, a year ago, bought out by another company, and it seems to be not as great anymore. So I'm kind of curious what others use to keep track of, not necessarily to keep track of all your projects. I don't even want to start to keep track of all my projects. That'd be a nightmare. But just how when you're working on some type of project, how you keep track of what you've done, what needs to be done, etc. So, Ollie says make a Mikado method graph. I don't even know what that is.
He's writing a Wikipedia article about a thing he just made up right now.
He's gonna share a link in a second. Local Maker Michigan said, "I leave unfinished piles laying around." I don't mean the actual project. Used to use whiteboard and learned to ignore it. It's funny. I actually have a whiteboard upstairs that has notes from Xander's Thing Thursdays, like the original Xander's Thing Thursdays. Tom said white line, notepad, and pencils, but that may be why I seldom finish anything. But again, a notepad, you're going to kind of run into that same issue as where when you're done with stuff, you're crossing it off. But you might have something hanging out on that sheet. Like you could have 50 things on there that got crossed out, but there's still one somewhere in the middle. So you can't just throw that sheet away. So then you have to transfer it to a new sheet or so. Not saying it's a bad way. I'm just, that's why I don't do it that way. I have to find out what this Mikado. It's got the word graph, which that alone scares me.
I put a real bad scratch on my my phone last night. We were having a little campfire out back, and our campfire pit I surrounded with river stone, so that there's nothing burning with it, nothing burnable within a decent distance, and the phone slid out of the holster and landed face down in the gravel.
Nice.
Yeah,
of course, face down. Cats always land on their feet. Buttered bread always lands butter side down, and your phone's always going to land on the screen.
Yep. So unfortunate.
Scott said, I've used Trello, but like most software tracking stuff, I get excited to work on a project, then ignore the list.
Yep.
I feel that. I've been there. What I started to do, because I used the Trello to work through the whole entire FK1 project, which was absolutely brilliant, because as a guy who suffers from ADD, I would be working on something and my brain would say, hey, you need to do this. And I'd be like, okay. At that moment, it would trigger me and I'd go, nope, I'm going to go put that in Trello. And I would go back to working on what I was working on. And it helped tremendously. I've used it for a few other tasks in between, but the two big ones I've used it for is the FK1 and the Fummins project. And it's worked pretty well, but
I would bet it's been a year since I had all of my metric hex wrenches in the holster. So
Alan King said, I have project boxes, so all the parts paperwork is in each box, but this method does not tell me how finished they are. I have to remember to add notes on my progress in each box. Okay, that kind of makes sense.
Oh. Uh-oh.
The Mikado graph is one of those things like, does it move? Yes or no? Yes. Is it supposed to? One of those. That's what Ollie uses. But I don't know.
Are you still able to hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I heard a USB like disconnect on my computer, and I'm just making sure. Yep. So.
Oh yeah, Ollie said I even made a complete website, and then he linked to MicadoMethod.info. That's brilliant. Scott said I had to throw old whiteboard out because notes were so old they wouldn't erase. Brake clean. Brake clean will take them off of there. It's dry erase, but wet will get them off of there. Your mileage may vary. I'm not liable for any damage you might do to your whiteboard, just so you know, because some whiteboards are made differently than others. It's a way to figure out and keep track of all dependencies in a software development project. Yeah, it just seems like that would be a lot of work. Is there a digital way to make one of those so you can move stuff around? Interesting. Scott said, I could see that little innovative box being handy in the garage to dedicate Trello. Mount an old monitor on the wall. I actually have a 47. It's a 47-inch TV out there. That's actually hooked to one of those fanless PCs, a mini PC that runs Windows 10. Doesn't do it well, but yes, absolutely. And mainly being that Trello is web-based, that little guy would do it well. It comes with Firefox pre-installed on it. Ollie says he's actually working on a digital tool for it, but it's a work in progress. Yeah, it'd be kind of neat to be able to create them all and then like just link them however you wanted to, and then be able to move them and unlink them. And so, but yeah, I don't know, that question had been plaguing me for a little while because obviously I have projects. I have lots of projects. So I also use Trello for, like, I have a Trello, I forget what they call it, a workbook or whatever. But I have a Trello for just keeping track of my automobiles because I have so many. No, in fairness, like I have a column for my daily drivers, and then I have a column for project vehicles. I have a project for other, like my lawnmower and that kind of stuff. And then I have a column for sold projects or sold cars, which doesn't have very many in it, weirdly. But the reason is because then inside of there, I store things like the VIN number, year, make, model, the VIN number, tire size, that kind of stuff. So that if I'm out searching for parts and you can do a VIN lookup, I can just go get the VIN because I'm not going to memorize all those VINs. So that's kind of handy. And then I'm trying to think of the Trellos that I have without opening it up and cheating and looking. But so I use it for other things as well. And in fact, I started using it for work for a while. Hey, Sergio. I started using it for work to keep track of projects that we needed to bid. And it was just between myself and my other estimator, and it was working really great. And then the boss man found out about it and got involved, and then it went to crap. There's no way around it. That's just what happened. At that point, I didn't want to use it anymore. So, but but we don't use it anymore. That coworker no longer works with me. He got a better job and left me to be by myself. Touchy subject. But yeah, good on him.
And you never told him that you loved him.
I haven't actually talked to him in a long time. I'm really bad about it. James knows. I'm really bad about that. I mean,
you and I are both bad at that.
Yeah. James and I talk for 2 hours on Sundays, and then we don't talk to each other the rest of the week unless something comes up. Oh. No, I'll turn that ticker off just because, but I would always like feedback. If you ever come up with a really great way of tracking projects, and not even tracking projects as a whole, because again, I mean, you could make a Trello of projects that you're working on. Oh, that's another one that I use it for. So I guess I technically still use it for work. The software that we use for doing estimating, which is written in Pascal, it's just brilliant. 32-bit, but they're working on a 64-bit for the last 11 years. But you can custom write tools for inside of there. And so I taught myself this because they won't teach you. I wrote 2 hours of Glenn is enough for James in a week. 31.75 hours is too much. But I went in and I taught myself. I figured out how it worked, and I started writing my own tools for the software. So I use Trello to also keep track of tools that we want, tools that are in progress, and things that need to be fixed or updated. So I guess I technically still use it for work, but yeah, I can't even imagine like listing out all of my projects in there. I should start using it to keep track of my Christmas light projects though, because right now we have a book. We have a nice spiral bound notebook that I got from some trade show that I was at. And when Priscilla and I are out in the yard talking about we should do this and we should do that. Now we talk about Christmas lights all year long. It is not a at Christmas time only thing. Like we'll just be sitting out on the front porch and I'd say, hey, we should blah blah blah. So then we go get the book and we start writing stuff in the book, which is convenient. Probably should keep the book, but also then transfer it into a Trello. So that's a little bit easier to organize and you're not digging through 400 pages of stuff trying to remember what you were going to do that year.
But who has the time?
Well, I think the time would be easier to put it into the computer than it would be to try to dig through the book. Tom said, I got to go figure out dinner and maybe takeout order. I have no desire.
Oh, I just lost audio. I can still hear some stuff on my side, so I think it's you. If it's not, I'll be back at my computer in 2 seconds. Coming back from outer space. Oh, it is you.
Yeah, it was me. I was singing to myself, which is great because nobody wants to hear me sing. And
I've never heard you sing. I've heard you try.
yeah.
There. This is how I'm going to stream from now on. That's perfect.
That's great. Yeah. Yeah, they played one of my favorite songs at church today, so I was just ripping it in church. But I don't really care what people think there.
You got so excited to hear a song you liked in church that you farted?
No, but my kid did a couple of weeks ago. Luckily, we sit way up in the balcony, back towards the back.
You're able to move before the smell got to anybody.
Well, no, there wasn't anybody up there. We go to the first service, and there really isn't anybody there during first service, which is kind of nice. So, in fact, today there was only, I don't know, this is the 4 of us, and then maybe 4 other people up there. But that's why I like first service. It doesn't have any people. Second service is holy crap busy. I don't. Whew. We were the holiday weekend, Labor Day weekend. We were down at the resort with the church group, and then afterwards we had gone to this restaurant that's called Cafe Tutu Tango. It's actually where I took my wife on our first date, and it's what do they call it? Tapas.
Tapas. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's appetizer sized portions, and then everybody just orders a bunch of stuff, and y'all share it, and it's fantastic. We have a great time. We took the kids there; they thoroughly enjoy it. But it just happened to be the pastor's father-in-law's birthday, and so they were going there as well. and then he had come over. Pastor had come over and sat down with us, and we were just chit chatting and stuff. And I don't know, he had said something, and I said no, 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 the social anxiety. And he goes, yeah, 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 I know you're stuck up.
Oh man.
Oh, I'm hungry today.
I think Kay's supposed to be making supper, but then as I was coming downstairs, I'm like, and if you don't feel like cooking, just order something. And she said, I forgot my phone upstairs. And I said, did you want me to go upstairs and get your phone for you? She said, yes. So.
Well, the wife now has a thing that she goes to on Sunday nights. So dinner is not prepared by the time I get done with the stream. So we always have to figure out what we're going to do. I bought myself a salad for today, but I actually ate a salad pretty much right at bedtime last night. It was like about 9:30, which not a good plan. Don't eat a big old salad right before you go to bed.
Yeah, salads are hard to digest, right? Well, a lot of it doesn't get digested, so that's
it just kind of runs through and grabs everything on the way.
I think I've talked about this before. I've been getting Charlie horses a lot at night, the leg cramps, and
potassium.
Well, here's what I think's happening now, because so I've started consuming more food with more potassium. I've been consuming more water to make sure that I'm always hydrated, because dehydration also leads to that type of thing.
Yeah.
But and now most nights I don't get them, but occasionally I'll have a sore back, so I'll stick a pillow under my legs to get a better angle on my back. If I put a pillow under my legs now, I get a Charlie horse, because I guess it just pushes against it puts a little more pressure against the muscle that cramps.
Yeah.
So finally get comfortable, get to sleep, and then 2 hours later I wake up and I begrudgingly have to get rid of the pillow that's been making me more comfortable.
Yeah, I lay that way. Like when we're watching TV in bed, I put a pillow under my knees, and then I get rid of it before I go to sleep. But yeah, more bananas.
Yes, we have no bananas. Thanks, Obama. I think the Thanks Obama jokes are one of my favorite internet series of jokes because of how they ended.
Well, not only that, but he gets on board with it.
Well, that's how it ended, right? Because they had an entire subreddit on Reddit called Thanks Obama, and then he posted the video of himself dipping his cookie into milk, and the cookie like breaks or whatever and falls into the milk, and he looks and goes, "Thanks, Obama." And they locked the subreddit. They said there's no topping having Obama saying "Thanks, Obama" to something. So that's the end of it. And I was like, that's perfect. I know there's lots of people out there that didn't care for him, but he was definitely a personable person. I mean, is a personable person.
Scott said it's been a while since we've seen a Fun King pizza night. That is because I can't eat Papa John's anymore. It makes me sick to my stomach.
But it's got better ingredients.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. And my new favorite pizza place, Marco's,
Polo's,
doesn't deliver here. Wah, wah, wah. So we do pizza. I said doo-doo. We do have pizza. So actually, we pick up pizza every Wednesday night, at least for the kids, because they come back from youth and they hadn't eaten. So then I get them a cheap Little Caesars. Used to be $5, now is like $6.39 pizza. You know, when they upped their price from, was it $5 to $5.55 or whatever?
They tried to keep it, something that's like, oh, at least it's still meme worthy.
Well, they made like a big deal about it. Listen, we haven't upped our price in so long. We're going to go ahead and up it this 55 cents. It'll be great. Then all of a sudden they upped it to like $6.39 and they didn't say anything.
Because they're like, well, crap. We were hoping it was gonna be one and done, at least for a while.
Yeah, no, they're just gonna keep jacking the price up. But But so yeah, there is pizza in the house, but I don't eat that. That one makes me sick too. So, but yeah, no, my new pizza love is Marco's.
Polos.
Getting sick on Papa John's, not enough White Castle in your diet. You've worn off that protective grease coating. It's something in their sauce. I actually have to order their pizzas when I do eat them. I mean, even when I was eating them before, I have to order it with light sauce, or it absolutely makes me sick to my stomach. And that's been going on for a long time. I used to eat at Papa John's a lot because it's in the same plaza where Best Buy is, and I used to work at Best Buy. So, but which I'm happy to say, my kid is actually looking at going to work for Best Buy. I think that'll be kind of cool.
You're just looking forward to extra discounts. I understand.
Well, yes, that is a huge part of it, but I mean, just the fact that he's gonna kind of follow in my footsteps, as weird as that is, but he will be 16 years old a week from tomorrow.
You're getting old, buddy.
Yeah. We were talking about, because I know I keep saying this, Xander Spring Thursdays are going to continue. Zach,
I don't believe you.
Well, Zach being back in school now, he's got a rhythm going with school, and you know, we're figuring it out, and he wants to do it, so it's going to happen. And so we were talking today, and I'm not going to give anything away, but like how we're going to pass the torch per se. And then something was said about, Xander brought up something about the trailer, or the channel trailer, and he's like, I hate that channel trailer because it's so old and it's super cringy now.
What do you mean? What do you mean now?
Well, it didn't seem cringy to me when we did it. but like, if you haven't seen it, you gotta go and
stop watching the stream.
Yeah, just go now. I can't link it because, well, I guess I could. I'm logged in as me, not as, oh no, I am logged in as Fun King. Oh no, I'm not. I'm logged in as me, not as Fun King 3D. But I mean, it's my video. I can show it. Oh, that'll really, if he's watching, what'd you guys think of today's thumbnail?
It was a thinker.
It was a what?
The thumbnail itself was a thinker.
It's a little cringy.
It
wasn't the one that I wanted. I found a picture that I wanted to use. I found it last week, and I went to find it again this week and couldn't find it. So I should have downloaded it last week. I know that there's a way. Bear with me because I'm going to figure this out. I know that there's a way to.
What's NTC? It says this bed is dual power. It says you use pin 1 and 2 for 12 volts. You use pins 2 and 3 for 24 volts, and then you use pins 4 and 5 for NTC.
I don't know. Oh, the thermocoupler?
What do you mean?
Maybe the pins, those pins are for the thermocoupler. You know, for like reading the temperature.
Oh, you
thermistor. The thermistor.
Is there a thermistor supposed to be built into this thing? That'd be interesting.
In the bed?
Oh, I see. You are correct. There is a spot on here to solder a thermistor right into the
like a surface mount.
I'll show you. Oh, will I show you? Nope. Cable's too short. Wait, there we go. Maybe. Oh, come on, tilt up, you jerk. Even then, it's too freaking small on the screen. Let me see. I ruined I had to buy a new tip for my soldering iron because I accidentally left my soldering iron on overnight and completely oxidized the tip and couldn't get it clean enough to melt solder again.
I've done that. In fact, I left my soldering iron on overnight and it burned the soldering iron out one time.
Right here. See where the tip of the
Yeah.
So there's a connection, and then there's a hole for the thermistor.
That's kind of cool.
It is kind of cool.
So I posted the link. I can show video through here, but it's only if you have the video file. But that's the original trailer. It's short. But there's a scene in there where I say something about like Arduinos or something, and Xander's sitting there and he's got an Arduino, and I say it and there's a pause and he goes, "It's just, oh God, it's so cringy." But he was also like 10 years old, so give him a hard time about it.
I feel like I need to find my solder wick and take some solder out of this. But I don't remember where I put the solder wick now. And like I've seen it in the past couple of days.
Yeah. Oh, see, I have that problem too, where I'll see something and I'll say, "Oh, I should put that over here so I remember where it is," and then I don't remember where I moved it.
I actually have a device. Now that I think about it, I have this. Yeah.
What is that?
It's a hollow
soldering pump. Oh,
yep.
Okay.
It's like somewhere in between the expensive pumps, like the ones that actually have like the motor built into them for sucking out solder.
Right.
So it's the same concept where it's a hollow tip. Come on. It's a hollow tip, but it uses a plunger system.
Oh yeah, I got a couple of those. Like just basic.
Yeah, the plastic. So this is like in between. I haven't actually tried it yet, so I'm gonna try it. Should have tried it before I bought it. I love that song. Saturday night dance, I like the way you move. Wigfield's gonna come after you now. Somebody on your stream remembered one of our songs. Give us money. Actually, I know I probably shouldn't do this. I think I'm going to use both the built-in heated element on this thing and my good soldering iron to make sure I get lots of heat on this to remove the solder.
Yeah, make it good and hot fast.
Oh, geez. I don't know if this is going to show up on camera, but okay, you see the tip?
Kind of, yeah. It's got powder in it.
It's me pushing the pump.
Yeah, it's probably got powder from them building the...
Oh, smells like anthrax. Almost anthrax. West Virginia. Okay. Both you guys together are going to make this happen. I actually feel like I need to try and get the wire disconnected again first and then clean up the pad.
Local maker Michigan's calling us names. I think he called you a name.
What do you call me?
He said you're a solder sucker.
You know
but
what?
He's got a fancy solder sucker because it plugs in. Mine doesn't do that. He's a lot of solder wick too. I named it John.
Jake,
John Solderwick.
Not bad. 5 out of 7 for the joke. The first time I soldered this connection onto here, I was using like a little 40-watt Radio Shack special. And as I was trying to solder it, the soldering iron couldn't keep up with the amount of heat that was being wicked away by the bed. And it eventually ended stuck like inside the solder. The solder hardened around it. and it couldn't heat it up enough to liquefy it again. Okay, there. Wire's disconnected. Now, let's see if we can... Hold me close, young Tony Danza.
That's not possible what they're asking for.
I saw a picture of a car, and they had "You're asking for a Baskin" written on the back of it for Carol Baskin from.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Oh, it's because I took this off and didn't put it back on. Okay, everything's fine. Crisis diverted.
Crisis diverted.
Diverted. Diverted. Oh.
Come on. Oh, it's not too bad now, I think.
Parts for Xander's car arrived today, so I can finally get that air conditioning fixed. I got to take it over and have all of the refrigerant environmentally processed sucked out of the car. Because I don't got one of them $1,400 freaking dollar machines.
But you were tempted to go and buy one, weren't you?
I did look into it. I mean, like,
I think I'd probably just be disappointed if you just, went, okay, well, that's fair. That's what it costs, and just did it.
Well, I mean, if they had like a small home friendly unit, I mean, this is a big thing, dumping refrigerant into the. I mean, at least R12 was. I mean, you'd think that somebody would make one that was like $500 or $600, that was decent, that the home guy could buy, you know?
Yep.
But I guess typical home guys don't do their own air conditioning.
Some fresh solder down on this guy.
James is smoking hot right now. Whoo, getting compliments, James.
Used to it.
And then I'm surprised my mom didn't show up unless she's watching and just didn't say anything. She messaged me earlier and asked me what time I was streaming. I've been working on making sure that she's got subtitles on all the stuff that she watches.
Make it a little bit easier on her.
Well, she's having a hard time, hearing it. But then she cranks her TV up so loud, and she's trying to avoid doing that. That's not possible. How is that possible?
What happened?
Oh, Lego wants me to do something that's impossible. I'm going to start this piece over again. I mean, listen, everybody's free to choose their own gender, but Lego, it doesn't work that way. You can't put the girl parts to the girl parts. Oh, I see what they did. This guy's over there, so creative.
I don't know how people solder this, because I've now bought a high-end soldering iron, and it's still struggling to heat up.
On the bed? Yeah, I use a gun. Use a soldering gun for that.
I don't have one.
Yeah, you got to give it all the onions.
I think I'm just gonna super load my iron up with solder. get a good collection of the wet stuff on there. You know what I mean? And then
You got to
bring
put
it
the
down.
wet stuff on the hot stuff. It's the only way to put the fire out.
That is still looking like a cold solder point to me.
It probably will without either a small butane torch or
I mean, I do have a small butane torch. I guess I could give that a shot. I could hit this with, let it cool for a second, hit it with some flux, and hit it with the torch and see if I can get her to bond. Because the other thing is this printer's not staying at my place after it's fixed with this bed. So I don't want to leave anything to chance for somebody else.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it's not staying at your place. You don't really care.
No, it's the opposite of that. It's not staying at my house, so I do care, at least somewhat.
3D Medic Vince said that's what makes a Lego master. Putting the two girl parts together. Local Maker Michigan said typically home guys vent the Freon into a bottle of water. Oh, that's a good idea. That'll definitely contain it. I have also heard that if you take a like one of those plastic coffee cans or another type container and cut a hole in the lid and put the hose down in there and then stuff it full of rags, that will also filter the the refrigerant as it releases into the atmosphere.
There's the torch.
Tony Ryan said, well, Pooh, I guess the graphics card in this old laptop isn't compatible with OBS. It's amazing how much video power OBS requires.
Is it over 9,000?
It is over 9,000. If you remember back, and I'm talking to them, not you, because it was before James. Actually, I don't know if it was before you. I think it was. I think it was back during the Fun in the Country basement days, but I had problems with my streaming machine crapping out. And,
no, you had that when we got started too.
Yeah. And then like I tried a bunch of different stuff, Linux box. In fact, I still have that Linux box with OBS installed on it. But yeah, and then luckily I was able to upgrade my PC and use my old PC parts to make this PC, and here we are today. Man, I only made it through one bag again, but there she is so far. It's heavy. It's got some weight to it. It's got this cool little oh, come on, change there. It's got this little slidey door back here. The little guys can go in there and then whoop. Those Lego guys, they're so smart. I look forward to this thing collecting dust on my shelf for many years. So I like the Speed Champions, the Lego Speed Champion cars. Again, my life in automobiles. So every once in a while I'll buy one, and it'll sit around for. In fact, I've had one sitting in there for probably a year, and I haven't even opened the box on it. But then, like when I'm bored and I don't have anything else that I want to do, I'll put one of those together. So I don't remember what happened. I had an Audi, and something happened with Zach. I don't know, one of those life disappointments. And after I was done screaming at him to suck it up and not be a Nancy, I gave him the Lego kit to build. I said, now this is mine, but you can build it, and then I want to put it up on my shelf. Nope, never got it back. He built it. It's on his shelf. Little turd.
Well, I mean, the solder eventually melted with the torch, but then the wire fell off and it didn't go great.
So apply more heat to the board first.
And then stick the...
And then bring the... the wire down to it. Trying to remember what. Oh, this beast. No, it would have been the AM8. Soldering that thing. I had to use my 1,000-watt gun. Local maker Michigan said, I've never assembled a Lego kit. That kind of makes me sad. If you ever get down to Florida, well, I guess there's others. There's California, New York, but visit Legoland. You can build all the Lego you want there. I was going to say free of charge, but that's not really true. You got to pay to get in. Lego has got a, I don't know what they call it, whatever their expert builder sets are now, but it's a Ferrari and it's massive, but it's also like $250 or something ridiculous. How long on the MK3 print? Well, let me take a little look-see. It says time left 1 hour, so probably an hour and a half. One of the things that they suggested when you print this was to print it low and slow, which is funny to me. They said a 0.15 or a 0.2 layer height and then slow your speed. So I think it's doing all right back there, but approximate total print time 2.5 hours. It's been running for 1.5 hours. Print time 1 hour. Yeah, I forgot I didn't start it right at the beginning of the stream, did I? So I was hoping it would be done during the stream, but I didn't get to start it. It's still. Let me see if I can find it, and I will show you what it is that I'm printing. I still don't have slicer set up in here because I never sliced on this machine. I would always slice it at my desk and then send it to the Pi, which is how I still do it now. But the machines are no longer 10 feet apart either. Oh, there's my mom sending me a message. I missed your live. I had company.
I can't believe this butane torch is not heating it faster than this. Like I keep expecting to see the solder go molten and then sink onto the pads like it should with.
But I mean, think about how much of a heat sink that board is. Sorry, I have like 75 tabs open on my other machine, and that's what I'm trying to find. I got it right here. So let's do a little screen sharing thing, being that worked out so well with the little mini computer. Share screen.
Well, that is the thing. The entire bed is now stupid hot. But maybe I can use that to my advantage with a hybrid approach with the soldering iron.
Yeah, maybe the torch, the soldering iron, like hold the soldering iron in your mouth, the torch in one end and the wire in the other. So this is what I'm printing right here. This, and again, they sell it for $25, which seems like a lot to me for a 3D printed part, but I mean, research and development had to go into it. But the new revision, this one's got a nut in it. The new one revision uses a heat insert for the nut insert. But if you go here to their download tab, it's just amazing. You can get all of their tools. And so for anybody out there that works with tubing, they have this guy right here that helps you to determine the angles of the cuts and stuff when you're mitering tubing together, which is probably the hardest part about doing mitering or doing any type of tubing work if you don't have a tube notcher. and they give you the pieces that you can print for that, and then you use pieces of TIG rod as the metal rod, which I think is pretty great. But this piece back here is what's being printed. I think this piece is done. The little leg sitting in front of it, yeah, is done. But it's this piece right here, and then this piece right here is what I'm working on printing right now. So, but I think that's pretty cool that they just give it to you. Here it is. Don't pay us. I found out about these guys through Redbeard's Garage. Those guys do like go-kart builds and stuff, and actually build the frames from scratch. Sorry, I gotta text my mom back.
Come on.
Well, it's 6:31. I mean, we were late to start, so we could wait a couple more minutes.
I'm just gonna try one more time to get this wire attached, but I don't think.
Mitch just came back and said, "What did I miss?" So we have to start all over from Mitch. You missed all the good stuff. We gave away a bunch of stuff.
It's true.
Prizes worth millions of dollars.
That thing that you've been looking for months, we ended up to get a hold of one and give it away to your arch nemesis. Go figure.
For those of you who didn't see the Fummins giveaway, for those that didn't see, Mitch did find a U.S.-made vise on the Facebook. I almost called it something else. The Facebook Marketplace. You know, it's funny. Another YouTuber here in Florida, Taylor Ray, he built the Fummins before I built mine. In fact, he was the inspiration for me doing what I did, and he was also a really great resource. As I got started and got, like into the project as far as like what I should do and what I shouldn't do, and I still did things my own way too. But and then he's got a video series on his build, so it was very helpful. And I called him a traitor. He went out and bought a new truck, and he just said, I don't want the thought in the back of my mind that, because he does drift racing, and he's like, I didn't want the thought in the back of my mind that the truck might break down. I just, and I'm thinking, you bought another Ford. You should always have that thought in the back of your mind. But listen, if you're a Ford fan, it's fine. I own multiples of them. I own a little bit of everything. But he's actually said that he's going to look at giving his Fummins away. So if you want a Fummins, maybe follow Taylor Ray. Not that he needs your help. He's got a pretty good channel, but
this is a freaking nightmare, I gotta say.
Yeah.
I just can't get it to adhere.
Mitch said, "Yep, that vise works great. The taxes and gas for the Fummins wouldn't be worth it for me." No, I still don't. Again, I mean, when it's finished, I won't be sure of how well the gas mileage is. I can't afford to fill it up. I mean, that's kind of tongue in cheeky, but I would have to. Sergio said flux is the key. I would have to definitely give up something else for the week to be able to, because it's well, let's see, diesel prices are down to like $4.70. I think it was $4.70 last night, and it is 38 gallons, so $179 to fill that thing up.
Okay, well, I'm loading this up with Flux, but I did do that the first time, and
Yeah, but with the torch or without the torch?
the first time I did it with the torch. This time I'm doing it just with the iron, because the torch also starts to melt the insulation around the wire. So let's go ahead and hit it with some Flux.
Mitch said drive it to Earth. Yeah, I know we're 21 days off or something. I don't know if I'm going to make it this year. I'm still trying, but there's just some other things going on. That printer's got like a really low bass tone rumble to it right now. Like, vroom, vroom, vroom. I was trying to figure out what was, like, if there was something sitting outside idling, or it'd only be 110 if it was a Ferrari. Well, I mean, in fairness, it's not even cheap to fill any of our cars. The Flex, I forget how many gallons the Flex tank is, about 18, I think. And it gets about 18 miles to the gallon. Mitch said, we're driving 13 hours to Earth. It's going to be a challenge for sure. Yeah, it's like 18 to 20 hours for me. I did consider driving and not flying because then I could just sleep in my truck. But the problem is time. I'd have to take time off of work. And unfortunately, the situation that we're in with work right now, it's not really an option because there's nobody to fill in for me. And I don't know if that's by design. I mean, there's never anybody to fill in for me. I'm the only IT guy, and I like it that way.
I'm just going to let the torch sit on it for like a minute or two and see if it liquefies. Then I can just jam the wire in there and call it a day.
Job security. I don't know if it's necessarily job security, but...
Oh, turned off the torch. Thought I was turning it up. Come on.
Oh, Rich said, I hope they pay accordingly. Does anybody ever pay accordingly? Listen, the company that I work for, I mean, we're a relatively small company. The job that I do, I could absolutely go somewhere else and make a lot more money. But it's not necessarily about money to me. That company is for the most part, family to me. And I get a lot of perks. I mean, working from home is pretty awesome. So my work truck holds 30 gallons to 200 to fill it up, especially since I only use premium. Ooh, fancy premium. I only use whatever diesel's at the pump. So I do. I mean, when the Fummins is running, I do want to try to figure out what kind of mileage it's getting, but I'm still actually working on the transmission tune. It's really super, super close. I mean, it will be when it's running. But there's just like a couple weird shifts in it. So there's like, and it could just be the Cummins engine spins at a much lower RPM than the Ford 6.4 did. Like the Cummins likes to cruise at 1600 to 2100 RPMs, as where the Ford motor was more like 2100 to 3000 RPM. So adjustments had to be made for that. The torque converter had to be changed. But right now, if I'm driving, it kind of hangs the gear. It doesn't shift into overdrive until 45. Like it just, I don't know. We're working through it.
I don't know if we're going to get there with this.
Scott said, so much to be said for a company that actually cares about their employees. Only had one that was like that. No, this company, again, the owners, I would do anything for the owners. Like whatever they need. I'm there. They want me to work on a weekend, I'll work on a weekend. They want me to get up in the middle of the night to do something, I'll get up in the middle of the night. They'll call me at 10 o'clock at night because of something IT related, and I'm on it. That's fine. But again, like I do get a lot of benefits. Most days I work through lunch, or I'll only take like a 15-minute lunch. But then there's days like I'll take Xander out for lunch and we'll be gone for an hour and a half, and it doesn't matter. No, nobody questions me on that. So because they know that I'm going to give them all I got for 8, because that's the deal. Come on, do you know that one?
No.
It's a country western song.
Well, I honestly don't know what to do.
You need a gun. I mean, not like a pew pew, but a soldering gun.
Like I have a heat gun.
No. Like, a soldering gun.
Are they that much? Do they get that much hotter?
Mine's like 1,000 or 1,100 watts.
This entire thing is like, because obviously the heat's been dissipated throughout the board.
If you can touch it, it's not hot enough. But the thing with the gun is it gets so hot so fast that it'll heat that area quick, and it won't send the heat out through the board. Yeah, Mitch said a Weller soldering gun, they dump a lot of heat fast. They dump a lot of heat.
I'm going to end up buying another tool to fix somebody else's printer.
Mitch said usually loyalty means they can take advantage of you. No, I don't let that happen either. Yeah. I'm trying to think. It's I'm off my meds, so my brain is foggy. Aaron Tippin, I got it honest.
So that's on there now, but nope. Okay, well, I'm going to give up for now because...
Tom Lama said, rather get paid a little less and enjoy my job conditions than getting paid more and hate every day there. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't work for the money anyway. I'm independently wealthy.
I think the snag I'm running into right now is I have no more budget right now for more tools, and Kay just bought me a fairly expensive soldering iron so that I could get more.
And the thing about the gun is if you don't, I mean, you've obviously never needed one till now.
That's the.
When would you need it again?
Yep.
So you might be able to find somebody locally that has one. Do you have a makerspace near you?
No. Not within, I'd say, 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm. So order one off of Amazon and return it. I mean, don't do that. That's not nice. That's probably why they've made making returns harder now.
Weller 200. So you said I need like 1,000 watt one?
Big, yeah. And I could be wrong on the wattage. Give me a second here. We'll
the Weller professional one that came up was like 200 and some watts.
Well, here's a. Oh yeah, 200 watts. Yeah, so I might be wrong. That might be right. Because the little pencils are usually like 35 watts.
I don't remember what the wattage on this one here is. I just know it goes up to 750 degrees.
Which is that's typical. It's just being able to hold the heat and get it there quicker.
Weller D650 industrial soldering gun.
Yeah, the D650 is a good one.
Dual heat produces 300 or 200 watt. But it's like $135 to fix somebody else's printer.
Canadian, yeah. Bummers.
Okay, well, we should probably wrap up anyways. I imagine Kay will have supper good to go at this point.
Rub it in. Rub it in. All right. Well, you got anything that you want to promote?
I should have a video up by the end of the week on the robot. So
You should.
I should, but it was supposed to be out last week, and things just don't seem to go well lately. But
Yeah.
that's life.
I'm gonna say should. No, I will have a video out on Friday. I have not even started editing this week's video. I was gonna work on it on yesterday, Saturday, but I had zero motivation, and sometimes that happens. You know, I mean, I'm sure everybody in this group understands creative motivation sometimes just books it on you. So I didn't, and then a lot of other things happened today, so I couldn't get to it today. So I'll probably have to start working on it tomorrow. But I wanted to tell you guys. Last week I told you I was at what 300 and how many subs? Do you remember?
Not off the top of my head.
I can't remember. I'm at 322 today, which is just freaking amazing. I want to say that I was at like 308, but driving Fumman's video. No, Mitch, it's not done yet. God, that thing's a beast. I also noticed today on the studio that 4 weeks ago on the Garage channel, I hit 10,000 hours of watch time.
You say 10,000 hours?
Sorry, 10,000 views. That's what it was. Again, I'm off my meds, so my brain's a little foggy. I've had 10,000 views 4 weeks ago, so that was pretty cool to me. I want to look at the chart here to see. A week ago would have been the 11th because of September 11th. I had 312. I gained 10. I gained 10 subscribers this week. It's brilliant. So those of you who watch my stuff, I appreciate it. I really do. I say it in the videos, and it kind of may come off a little cheeky, but it's not. I truly appreciate it because I want that channel to take off. This one, not so much anymore. No, it's going to come around. We're going to get Zach in here. And then I don't have to deal with it anymore. I can just put it on him, teach him how to edit. But yeah, James is using Flux. Scott said, "Oh, that's been my last 2 weeks after COVID." Yeah, from what I hear, and knock on wood, I've either never gotten it or it just didn't hit me. But from what I hear, it definitely it's definitely a energy sucker. Tony Ryan said, Amazon Choice 100 watt soldering iron, $25. Where do I have it delivered, James? You probably shouldn't answer that question out loud.
I don't. Is it going to be enough to do it though? Is the question.
Well, again, I mean, it's like 3 times the wattage of your pencil, yeah?
Oh, look at that. This is molten now. I'm going to hit it a little bit longer with the heat and then just try and...
That's the torch, yeah?
That's the torch, yeah.
Just throw it across the board. Tony said 100 watt will definitely do it.
What I did differently this time to get the heat is I put it right on the desk so it's insulated on the other side. I had it overhanging off the desk, which, I mean, I may end up regretting because it might have ruined the finish on my desk, but at this point...
That is insane.
What, the fact that I'm hitting it with blue flame and it's having trouble even...
Still solidified, yeah.
I mean, if a $25 one's going to do it, I can definitely order it for myself. I get into the rabbit hole too, where it's like, well, if I'm going to spend $80 on one,
might as well go 150. Tony said, too close. Most heat is just outside the flame front. like just past the little pointy blue part. Well, my internet didn't seem to give any trouble tonight. I thought for sure.
Okay, that is not a cold solder point.
Did it stick?
It's stuck.
Fantastic.
Oh my god, everything is so hot at this point.
Mitch said 2,000 watt induction board. That'd do it.
I mean, it's definitely dark a little bit around the edges here.
Oh, it's fine. Nobody's gonna notice that.
Yeah, that's
Hey, my internet is back. The download's not as good as it was, but that's because I'm using it.
Okay, so the only other thing I need to do is test the resistance on this and find out that I've now completely flippity-flued the traces on the board and it no longer works.
It'll be fine.
You say that, but you don't know what my luck is like. My luck is garbage.
It'll be fine.
How much resistance am I supposed to get off this thing?
I don't remember.
Want somebody to please think of the cauldron?
That's a spicy hot plate.
Okay, let's see what we're doing here now.
But yes, as I was saying, I will have a video out this Friday. I won't promise great quality because I'm running out of time and I got to get it done. But I think this next video coming up is to do with the electrical wiring. Probably the throttle pedal modification, because yes, I had to modify my throttle pedal, and poking some wires through the firewall. So it'll be a different resistance when it's hot, I bet. Yeah, but I wouldn't imagine it's much different.
It's showing 0.
Tony said resistance is futile, probably in the sub 100 ohm range.
Showing
my wife's home.
1.5 ohms of resistance.
Well, that is sub 100.
I know we looked this up before. I don't know what it's supposed to be.
Would it not change depending on the size of the heat bed?
It does.
I remember having this same conversation with you.
Yeah, it's the same printer.
1.2 would be about right.
So 1.5 isn't far off.
No.
So this is a 330 millimeter bed. It says 300, but it's actually 330.
I don't know if that matters. I think you're fine. I think you're fine.
So the weird thing is when I take the you know what, maybe it'll be fine now. When I was touching on the contacts here, yeah, I don't get a reading. So I think it's oxidized so badly on here, I guess. I get 1.2 right here.
Yeah.
Without the wires.
That would make sense because your wires are going to add some resistance.
Especially with how thermally damaged the one that I put on here is now.
Oh, it's fine.
Okay, well, we should probably...
Yeah, you keep saying that.
Wrap things up.
And then you keep working.
Well, I don't have to keep working now because we got there. All it cost me was everything, but it was good enough for Thanos, and it's good enough for me. Thanos was such a nice guy, and then one day he just snapped. Yeah, it got so hot towards the middle here that the tape, the adhesive, has been all mucked up.
Oh, and that's usually that high temp tape too.
It's masking tape, and that's what was on it when I got it from Tronxy.
Oh, it's supposed to be that. What's that stuff called? The pet tape.
Oh, Capcom.
Yeah, there you go.
Capcom Planet.
Oh no, James' wires are facing the wrong way.
Well, I don't give a flippity flu. Okay,
right,
everybody.
well, look for my video on Friday. Look for James' video whenever it might come out.
Probably Friday.
Yeah, I've been really bad about updating Patreon because I don't have any patrons. Well, I'm really bad about updating Patreon for this channel, and I have patrons, but the Garage channel, I haven't been updating the Patreon. But James is good about updating his Patreon. So if you always want to know what's going on behind the scenes with James, that's the place to find out. And you can do it for as little as $1, right?
Yep.
I'm on your dollar
$1.50, I
tier.
think.
Was it?
I think it's $1.50. I left anybody that was on the dollar tier as a legacy member. But the rest is $1.50 now too.
Well, even $1.50, that's a pretty good. It's a drop in the bucket, $1.50 a month. So
It's like a cup of coffee.
it's like
If you don't like Starbucks.
it's like 1/7 of a cup of coffee. So
Pretty much, yep.
it's ridiculous. But other than that, this is the point where I say thanks to each and every one of you for tuning in, both here and the other channels, because James has 2 and I have 2.
Yep.
I think I have more than 2, but I forget what the other one was. We have the replay channel, but I haven't done anything with it yet. So, but $1.50 Canadian, right? So it's only like 75 cents. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I don't foresee any reason why we can't do this next week.
Same.
Again, a week from tomorrow is Xander's birthday, so next week I want to drag him on here, and it would be great if everybody would wish him a happy 16th. And I know he doesn't come on very often. You may not even recognize him at this point. His hair's down to his butt. But thank you guys. We'll see you next week. We'll do it again. Same bat time, same bat channel. And until the next time, as always,
Print on.